The crisp morning air drifted through the quiet residential streets of Westchester County. The maple leaves were beginning to turn red, and frost had settled on the front yards. Emily took a sip of coffee while gazing through the kitchen window at the enormous Halloween decorations in her neighbor's yard. "Mom, I can't tie my tie," came Oliver's voice as he descended the stairs. His new school uniform tie was knotted in an odd shape. Emily couldn't help but smile as she began fixing her son's tie. "You have a math test today, don't you?" "Yes, but I studied with Dad last night, so I'll be fine." Seeing her son's confident expression, Emily felt a warmth in her heart. Despite working late into the night, Michael always helped Oliver with his studies. Since their marriage, he had treated her son like his own. The sound of morning news leaked in from the next room. The anchor's voice reported rising stock prices on Wall Street. In this neighborhood, such news was as commonplace as the morning air. In the upscale Scarsdale district, economic news was as important as the weather forecast. Emily's cell phone rang on the kitchen counter, displaying Patricia's name. She let out a small sigh and picked up the receiver. "Good morning, Mother." "Oh, Emily. I need to discuss Jennifer's wedding." Patricia's voice was commanding as usual. "I heard from the venue coordinator. We need to finalize the seating arrangements. And the menu selections. Yes, about Oliver's food allergies." "Emily," Patricia's voice cut coldly through the air. "This is our family's important day. Everything must be perfect. It's at the Ritz-Carlton. You understand, don't you? Many Wall Street executives will be there. The media will be covering it." Emily listened in silence. At the kitchen table, Oliver was reading his textbook while eating cereal. Outside the window, a neighborhood gardener was watering the meticulously maintained lawn. Life in this town was perfectly arranged, like a scene from a movie. "And Emily, I have a request." Patricia's voice suddenly turned sweet. "About your dress, I heard you ordered a new Oscar de la Renta." "Yes, I found it on sale. Please cancel it. Jennifer will be wearing the same designer. We want to avoid mother and daughter wearing the same designer." After hanging up, Emily gazed out the window for a while. Outside, luxury cars passed by one after another. The polished BMWs and Mercedes reflected the morning sun blindingly. The sound of the approaching school bus brought her back to reality. "Oliver, the bus is here." As she kissed her son's forehead, Emily pondered. 3 days until the wedding. How could she protect her son in this oppressive atmosphere? Her phone rang again, this time with a message from Michael. "Working late tonight. Sorry. But we'll definitely spend the weekend as a family." Emily smiled slightly. At least her husband was on their side. Outside, autumn leaves danced in the wind, creating a peaceful morning scene. As she watched Oliver's retreating figure board the bus, she felt anxious about the coming weekend. Patricia's influence as a board member of the Metropolitan Museum of Art couldn't be ignored in this town. A pristine white Rolls-Royce glided to a stop at the front entrance of the Ritz-Carlton Westchester. The chilly October wind gently traced the hem of Emily's dress. As dusk approached, thin clouds drifted across the sky. "Mom, this place is amazing," Oliver, dressed in a black tuxedo, exclaimed with sparkling eyes. The Brooks Brothers tuxedo, specially ordered, enhanced his dignified appearance. He took pride in being able to tie his bow tie himself after much practice. "It certainly is." Before them stretched a luxurious red carpet, with uniformed staff lined up neatly. The air was filled with the scent of elegant perfumes. Luxury cars arrived one after another, with notable financial and artistic figures stepping out. Board members of the Metropolitan Museum of Art made their appearances, exchanging graceful greetings. Ascending the stairs, they entered a grand entrance hall adorned with crystal decorations. Tall vases held pure white Casablanca lilies and pale pink roses. 18th-century French tapestries adorned the walls, with many guests already engaged in conversation before them. Michael hurried over. His expression showed a hint of strained tension. His navy Tom Ford suit seemed a bit more formal than usual. "Mother's looking for you. The photo session is about to begin." The luxurious grand ballroom was overflowing with more than 300 guests. The soft light from the chandeliers gently illuminated Jennifer in her Vera Wang wedding dress. Beside her, her fiancé, a Wall Street investment banker, posed for photos with his new family. Patricia, wearing a salmon pink Oscar de la Renta dress, displayed a perfect smile. She looked as if she had stepped out of Vogue magazine. Around her neck sparkled a Cartier necklace, said to be a family heirloom. "Photos can wait. First, let me show you to your seats." Their assigned seats were at the edge of the venue. The table was set with a pure white tablecloth and delicate flower arrangements. Table number 13. Emily sighed quietly at the unlucky number. At the main table, Jennifer's college friends were taking photos for social media. Her Instagram followers already exceeded 50,000, and details of this wedding would surely be circulating within hours. As the reception began, the appetizer of Maine lobster salad was served. The plates, garnished with edible flowers, were works of art themselves. However, only Oliver's plate remained empty. "I'm sorry." The children's menu. The waiter began apologetically but quickly departed after catching Patricia's sharp glance from across the room. At surrounding tables, bisque soup was being served. Its rich aroma wafted through the air. Oliver looked up at his mother anxiously. Whispers began from nearby tables. A woman who appeared to be the wife of New York Presbyterian's director tilted her head while discussing something. "It's all right." As Emily squeezed her son's hand, Patricia's voice, microphone in hand, rang throughout the venue. The background music quieted, and all attention turned to her. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for gathering here today to celebrate our beloved Jennifer's special day." Patricia continued speaking with a perfect smile, her expression showing a hint of triumph. The venue's spotlight illuminated her, making the Cartier necklace sparkle in rainbow colors. "Today is a special day. Only real family is here." As laughter filled the venue, Oliver quietly lowered his head. Emily could see his small shoulders trembling slightly. A tear fell onto the pure white napkin on the table. Emily slowly stood up. The screech of her chair seemed unusually clear in her ears. "Oliver, let's go home." Her voice was quiet but firm. The movement of the waiters, trained at luxury restaurants, momentarily froze. "Emily, wait." Michael's voice called from behind, but she didn't turn around. Just before leaving the ballroom, she caught sight of Patricia and Jennifer's satisfied smiles. The next morning, Emily's smartphone rang persistently. The screen was filled with countless notifications. It was still before the alarm clock was set to ring. "Emily, something terrible has happened." Jennifer's voice on the phone was on the verge of tears. Someone had recorded the wedding speech and uploaded it to social media. It had already recorded hundreds of thousands of views and was being shared widely. "This isn't what was supposed to happen. My followers are angry. Real estate contracts are being cancelled one after another." When Emily went downstairs to the living room, the incident was already being reported on television. The local news program was showing footage from the wedding at the Ritz-Carlton. "Mom, I don't want to go to school." Oliver's small voice came from the top of the stairs. He was holding his smartphone. It seemed he was receiving messages from classmates. Just then, the doorbell rang. The monitor showed Patricia, without makeup, at the door. "Emily, open up. Please." When Michael showed his mother in, Patricia's face was pale. Her smartphone trembled in her hand. "I received a call from the Metropolitan Museum of Art board. They're suspending all my support activities. New York Presbyterian too." Her voice shook. Emails kept arriving on her screen, all announcing the termination of their relationships with her. "Please, do something. Make a statement from your side." "From me?" Emily's voice was calm. At that moment, Michael's smartphone rang. It was from his father. "Father is calling an emergency family meeting," Michael announced with a serious expression. "He wants everyone to gather at his house immediately." The morning in the upscale residential area was as quiet as ever. However, a storm was raging on social media. Various media outlets had begun reporting, and prominent figures were responding one after another. When they arrived at Patricia's home, George was waiting in his study. His usually gentle expression was stern this time. "Patricia," his voice was low and heavy. "You have damaged our family's honor." Outside the window, reporters could be seen. The social media storm had already spilled over into the real world. "I received calls from the trustees of my charitable foundation. All donations are being frozen," George continued quietly. $1 million in annual activity funds, gone overnight." Jennifer burst into tears. She said she had received word from her fiancé's investment bank that they wanted to consider postponing the wedding. As Michael was about to speak, the butler announced new visitors. Jennifer's fiancé's parents stood there. The father was an executive at the investment bank. His expression was as cold as ice. "This is not just about a wedding incident," the fiancé's father began. "It's a serious matter that affects our company's reputation. It's being discussed at the board level." Patricia collapsed into a chair. How? Just one speech? At that moment, George's cell phone rang. It was from the lawyer. After hanging up, he spoke in a heavy tone. "The local food bank trustees are holding an emergency meeting. Patricia, your position as trustee probably." His words were cut off as the study door opened. Oliver was peeking in. "Grandpa, don't blame Grandma." The small voice echoed in the silent room. "It was my fault. I should have talked to Grandma more." All eyes turned to Oliver. His pure words instantly changed the atmosphere in the room. For the first time, real tears fell from Patricia's eyes. Camera flashes flickered outside the window, heralding the beginning of a new storm. "Emily." Her voice was weaker than ever before. What a foolish thing I." But her words of apology were cut short. Outside, the number of reporters continued to grow, and criticism on social media intensified. Patricia's 20-year reputation as a philanthropist was about to crumble in just one night. The afternoon sun streamed into George's study. A morning newspaper was spread out on the heavy mahogany desk. "This is the conclusion we've reached," George began, speaking quietly but firmly, looking down at the documents on his desk. "First, Patricia will temporarily step down from all charitable activities. She will resign from all trustee and board member positions." Patricia nodded slightly. Her face, without makeup, showed deep fatigue. "Second, we will issue a family apology statement. Emily, this requires your and Oliver's consent. Third," he paused for a moment. "Patricia, we must reconsider our relationship." The room's atmosphere froze. "Father, that's..." As Michael was about to speak up, George raised his hand to stop him. "Half of our assets will be donated to establish a foundation for stepchildren support. This is my condition." Outside the window, camera flashes from reporters continued to flash. People with protest placards had gathered in front of the local food bank. "But, Father," Jennifer spoke with a trembling voice. "That's our future." "Be quiet." George's voice rang sharply. "What your fiancé's family is looking for is our sincerity, not money." At that moment, the butler announced new visitors. "Mr. Thompson, the fiancé's parents have arrived." In the heavy atmosphere, the investment bank executive father of the fiancé entered. His Brooks Brothers suit seemed even more intimidating than usual. "George," he began as he sat down. "I've come to relay the board's conclusion." Everyone held their breath. "Our family's reputation has been affected by this incident as well. However," he took out documents from his briefcase. "Depending on your response, there may still be a possibility to restore relations." Jennifer's face lit up with hope. "However," he continued, "there are 3 conditions." The documents were spread out on the desk. First, the establishment of the foundation that George proposed. This is a good perspective. Second, Mrs. Miller's complete retirement, including an apology on social media. And third, he turned to Emily. An official apology and compensation for you and your child. Patricia looked up. For the first time, sincere emotion showed in her eyes. Emily. Her voice trembled. I'm truly sorry. However, an unexpected voice rang out at that moment. I want to forgive Grandma. All eyes turned to Oliver. He looked straight at the adults in the room with unwavering eyes. Because Grandma looks sad. And everyone else looks sad too. His pure words changed the atmosphere in the room. And, Oliver continued. I think we can redo Jennifer's wedding. This time, everyone can have fun together. Michael placed his hand on his son's shoulder. Son. Tears glistened in his eyes. Patricia covered her face with trembling hands. Then, slowly, she knelt before Oliver. Oliver. Grandma was very foolish. Her voice was softer than ever before, filled with genuine emotion. I was only concerned about my appearance and pride. I couldn't see what was truly important. She looked up at Emily. Emily, you are a wonderful mother. And Oliver is my true grandson. Everyone in the room caught their breath at those words. In my life, I thought I was helping many people as a philanthropist. But maybe it was all for my own reputation. She stood up and turned to George. I accept all your conditions. And she took a deep breath. I will donate all my personal assets to the foundation as well. The room fell silent. Mother. Michael's voice trembled. I need a chance to start over, Patricia continued. This time, with real love. The fiancé's father slowly closed the documents. This is proof of real change, he nodded. The board will be satisfied with this. At that moment, Jennifer stood up. I want to redo the wedding too, she smiled at Oliver. This time, with all our real family. Outside the window, a ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, as if announcing a new beginning. George quietly stood up and gazed at the old mechanical clock in his study. Sometimes, he began slowly, a crisis teaches us the truth. He signed the documents and handed them to the fiancé's father. Let's call the new foundation the Oliver Foundation. For the education and support of stepchildren. Oliver's eyes widened. My name? Yes, George showed a gentle smile for the first time. Because you taught us adults the true meaning of family. Emily hugged her son. In her arms, Oliver whispered softly. Mom, we've become a real family now, haven't we? 1 year later, in autumn. More than 500 people gathered in the Metropolitan Museum of Art's auditorium. Patricia stood at the podium. Her once overbearing demeanor had disappeared, replaced by a gentle expression as she spoke. Prejudice against stepchildren is a deep-rooted problem in our society. Among the audience were representatives from various family support organizations. A year ago, I realized my own foolishness. Pursuing only appearances and face, I couldn't see what was truly important. Emily and Oliver sat in the front row. Oliver, now 9 years old, had grown a bit taller. The Oliver Foundation has already supported over 100 stepfamilies. However, this is just the beginning. After the lecture, the director of New York Presbyterian approached. "Patricia, this is a wonderful change. The board is considering your reinstatement." But she quietly shook her head. "Thank you. But I have a more important role now." That weekend, Oliver's 9th birthday party was held in the Thompson family's backyard. Instead of luxury catering, there was a homemade birthday cake that Patricia had baked herself. "Grandma, this cake is so delicious." Patricia's eyes moistened at Oliver's innocent smile. Families who volunteered at the local food bank were also invited to the garden party. Children played together, regardless of their social backgrounds. "I can't believe it," Jennifer said, arriving with her new husband. Her wedding had been held 6 months ago, in a smaller, warmer atmosphere. "How our lives have changed so much." Her Instagram no longer showed pretentious posts. Instead, she shared moments from stepfamily support activities and genuine family time. Her follower count had increased, and the hashtag #RealFamily had sparked a new movement. George was talking with Michael in a corner of the garden. About the Oliver Foundation's new project, he spoke with a gentle expression. "We're considering support for education through college." "Dad, that's wonderful." "Yes. This is how our assets should have been used." Toward the end of the party, everyone gathered for a commemorative photo. "Everyone, come together." Emily called out. "Oliver, sit in the middle," Patricia gently guided her grandson. Before the photographer could set up, Oliver suddenly stood up. "Wait. Come closer together." He began arranging everyone in a circle, taking their hands. "Because we're a real family, aren't we?" His words brought tears to the adults' eyes. A real family isn't about blood ties or anything like that. Oliver continued with a serious expression. "It's about hearts being connected. That's what's most important." The shutter clicked. In that moment, everyone's expressions showed not manufactured smiles, but genuine happiness. That night, Patricia was writing in her diary in her room. "Today, I gained the most valuable treasure in my life," she wrote, gazing at the family photo from earlier. "It's not perfect appearances or social status. It's the bonds of a real family." Outside the window, the evening sky was turning a deep indigo. And new stars were beginning to shine quietly. A new notification appeared on Emily's smartphone. Warm comments were pouring in on the family photo Patricia had posted. With the hashtag #RealFamily, she had added a short message. "With my precious grandson who taught me the true meaning of family bonds." In the photo, Oliver's smile shone brighter than anything else.